Hey guys, One Hit Wonder here for the fifth and final part of my E3 Extravaganza. Last time I talked about Ubisoft and their conference, and this time I'll be talking about Sony and Nintendo. If you missed any of the previous parts, I'll leave a link in the description below, and also put a nice little link over here in the bottom corner to go back to the previous videos. And over here will be a link to my post E3 episode of Plugged In Short Circuit. But until then, enjoy me talking about Sony and Nintendo. Sony. I'm not sure what we were expecting from Sony coming into this E3. One thing we were kind of expecting, or was rumored leading up to E3, was the existence of something called the PlayStation 4 Neo, or PS4 Neo. It also went by another name like PS4.5, which is the kind of the next rebuild of the PS4. Not necessarily the next gen console, or next gen console. I mean, really, it's too early for such a thing. But it seems like, they're doing these hardware revisions. But it seemed like that was going to be something that was going to be talked about at the press conference, and in fact, Sony did acknowledge its existence before E3 began. So we're thinking, oh, it's going to be discussed at the press conference. Not necessarily. But another thing we were also looking forward to was probably like The Last Guardian. More information on that, probably a release day or whatever, after last year's surprise reveal of or not surprise, but just getting another look at it, and we got in a 2016 release date finally. A release year, that is, not a specific date, but we'll get that in just a bit. But anyway, let's get into Sony's press conference. And in fact, it looks like Sony went all out with this press conference in terms of the budget, because they got a live orchestra, the stage looks crazy, and you're thinking, wow, man, look at this awesome stuff. Sony must have paid a pretty penny for this. And in fact, that live orchestra was doing some live music for some of the gameplay shown, and it was actually pretty cool. It was definitely the nicest looking press conference of the bunch this year. So the first game comes on screen, and you're wondering, well, what is this? Here's a boy and a gruff-sounding father type teaching his boy or kid how to hunt. We don't know a lot about this. So, like, what's going on? Is this a Last of Us sequel or something like that? And then we actually see the man talking, and it's Kratos! Whoa! I just dropped that. It's Kratos! Ah! And yes, that is indeed what it is. It's a new God of War game. A lot of people think it was God of War 4. I was thinking that too. But it's actually just called God of War. It's apparently a reboot. But this time, he's not taking on Greek gods this time. He's taking on Norse mythology and Norse gods. Yeah, like Thor and Odin and all that jazz. It sounds pretty cool. I did like God of War. I loved the first trilogy, and they definitely are still good games. God of War 2 is probably was the best of the bunch. But still very awesome, like beat 'em up. Definitely gory and all that. Cliff Blazinski was in charge of the first game, and he was definitely the mastermind behind God of War, which is awesome and all that. But I was definitely surprised about this, and definitely surprised it was the first game to be shown. And I like what I saw. I liked the fact that Kratos looks like he's seen a bunch of crap and all that, and he has throughout the trilogy. Whether or not it ties back into the original trilogy is yet to be seen. It may be, if this is entirely a reboot or remake or something. No, it's not a remake. A reboot. Is it going to have ties to the original trilogy? Because you could make it the case that it is, because here's an old-looking Kratos. Here's an old guy who's seen a lot of stuff and has dealt with a lot of things, and now he's like, oh, well, I took care of the Greek gods, now it's time to take care of the Norse gods. Yeah, how do we get there? I don't know. But yeah, it's still awesome to see. And let me make it clear about Sony's press conference. It went by fast. It was definitely it was an hour long from when it started, like an hour 15 minutes, I think, or 90 minutes. But it went by super duper fast, because they basically went all it was just nothing but gameplay showing. But yeah, I wish it had a little bit more, but we'll get to that in a bit. After God of War had a new game called Days Gone. Again, it's another. I'm not really excited about it because um, it it looked. Everyone was getting serious Last of Us vibes again from it, and it's just like another zombie game. Like we're getting. I know, zombies are a big thing and all that, but I'm just so. It's so overdone now. It's oversaturated right now. And it was like zombies, but hey, it's a biker gang. So I was thinking it's Sons of Anarchy, but with zombies. Yeah, remember that show, Sons of Anarchy? Yeah. Not really too interested in what that had, but whatever. I guess we'll see when we get more information about it. And it didn't help about the gameplay demo, which I'll get to in a bit. It didn't that didn't help my perception of it. After that was The Last Guardian. Yes, more Last Guardian footage. And we actually got a release date, October 25th, 2016. Now, personally, I know the hype is huge for this game. I know the developers, I know what kind of track record they had. They made some great games with Ico and Shadows of the Colossus. With Shadows of the Colossus being a huge cult game, has a huge cult following, and like it's gorgeous. All these games, all three of them, look absolutely gorgeous. But The Last Guardian, as much as it's hyped up by a lot of people, me personally, I'm just not, as hyped for it, I guess. Now, granted, that might change when it comes out, or we get more stuff of it. But I don't know. I think it looks awesome, but I'm just not as hyped. I'm not like dying to play it as some other people are. And it's another one of those, like, it's a boy and his dog type thing, but the dog is like a dog/chicken monster hybrid thing. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on it, but, yeah, not really as hyped as some of the other people. Next game, Horizon Zero Dawn. This game is, I am very interested in. I am actually, my interest in is kind of peaked after the gameplay trailer they showed. I just like the concept where we have this like, old, hunter-gatherer type character, hunter-gatherer type society, old prehistoric thing. But instead of hunting dinosaurs, these dinosaurs are all robots and futuristic tech gazelles and elks and junk. I like the concept. I like the idea. And I just like the look of this. And it is by Guerrilla Games, which have been done, which is mostly known for the Killzone series, which people take it either or in terms of they like it or they hate it, but I don't know. From what I saw the gameplay trailer, it looked. I'm definitely interested in it. I definitely like the idea. I definitely like the look of it. Whether or not it plays well is yet to be seen. I know some people were saying it doesn't look very interesting in the gameplay wise. I just like the idea of hunting huge robotic mech animals in a big nature environment, I guess. I don't know. After that, Detroit, Become Human. This is by the makers of Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. It's gonna be like another cinematic point and click type adventure type game, I guess. It's hard to describe it, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks like this time it's gonna be like an LA noir type thing with like in a futuristic cyberpunk setting. Or a futuristic setting, at least, because we got androids and stuff. And it looks like there's going to be multiple outcomes for scenarios in terms of like solving crimes and stuff like that. Definitely interesting, but yeah, it takes place in Detroit. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, guys. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Now, when they showed this off in the thing, everyone was thinking, is this PT? Obviously, the game that Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro were working on before Konami completely screwed Kojima over by canceling the game and basically letting him go. And it was also the game that was going to have Norman Reedus as the star. And they did make a playable demo, and it got a lot of good impressions. And it was like, wow, this is going to be an awesome game. But then they had to go and cancel it. It had these big names, but then Konami, for some asinine reason, had to go and cancel it, and then whatever. But the way they showed this off, everyone was thinking, did they revive PT? Was this Kojima's revenge or something like that? But no, apparently it's Resident Evil 7 with the subtitle Biohazard, which is interesting because the Resident Evil series is called Biohazard in Japan. So that makes me wonder, is the Japanese version going to be called Biohazard 7 Resident Evil? I don't know. But anyway, they showed off this mode. It looked like PT. But apparently this is a VR mode, Sony VR, and it's going to be exclusive to the PS4. Yeah, it looks like Resident Evil after the bashing it took of Resident Evil 6 by its fans and by critics. It looks like they're going back to its horror roots, I guess, and trying to get back to the former glory it had back in the early days, and I guess the last good Resident Evil 4. But yeah, it's debatable, I guess, unless people liked Resident Evil 5. After that, we got to look at PlayStation VR. PlayStation VR, Sony's answer to Oculus and the Vive. It's going to be coming out October 13th, and it's going to be priced at $399 US. That's about comparable with the other price points, I guess, for these guys, because I don't know. These first generation VR headsets are going to be expensive, which is not surprising at all. But yeah, so only the diehards are going to want to spend that kind of money on it, especially just a headset that has the price of a console. That's definitely a hard sell, I think, for a lot of consumers. But yeah, that's Sony's answer to Oculus and the Vive. Then after that, we got a little clips of some Sony VR. I guess basically tech demos. They're calling them games, but really they're glorified tech demos, and they're going to be exclusive for PS4. You had the game called Farpoint, Sony VR. Next, you had a Star Wars Battlefront, a VR mission. Keep that in mind. It's not entirely VR. Battlefront game. It's just one individual mission. Again, like I said, a tech demo. Then Batman Arkham VR thing I have here, because they said, oh, go under Batman's cowl, you become the Batman. It is being made by Rocksteady, but again, I think it's going to be another VR tech demo thing, not like a fully fledged game. And that's a lot of things we saw from the other press conferences as well when they came up with VR. A lot of them just felt like tech demos, and that's essentially what they're going to be right now, because this technology is still very new and developers still haven't fully grasped the potential of these devices. Then there was a Final Fantasy 15 VR thing. Don't really know what the heck it was, but apparently you can hang out with Sydney, the female mechanic of the game. So all the people out there, now you can hang out with your waifu, some people would say. Whatever, Japanese weeb stuff. I'm sorry, don't do that. Anyway, so that's all the VR stuff. Just these little tech demos that are coming exclusively to PlayStation 4 and Sony VR, PlayStation VR. Next, we had Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. The first gameplay footage, I guess, from that. As you may have remember a couple E3s back, that Call of Duty has kind of moved away from Xbox, and now they're hanging with Sony and PS4. They paid the money, they got the exclusive early access to the DLCs and stuff now, and that's why they're being featured at Sony's press conference, not Microsoft's press conference. So we got first gameplay that. Frankly, I've been done with Call of Duty since Black Ops 2. I've kind of been burnt out, so I haven't really played it in forever, really. And this seems like going to space. People look at the reaction to the Infinite Warfare review, and look at the reaction to the Battlefield 1 thing. It's night and day in terms of people that like it and people that hate it. And people did not like Infinite Warfare just because it's going so far into the future. Is it a Call of Duty game anymore, or is it a Halo game? And then you see all the people praising Battlefield 1 because, hey, we're going back to the past. I know World War II has been burnt out before, but this is World War I. There's barely any game set in that period. And even still, I would take World War II over Modern Warfare now, because now the opposite has happened, where we're getting an oversaturation of modern shooters compared to World War I or II shooters. The opposite was happened before the late 90s, early 2000s, where we had so many World War II shooters, and then a Modern Warfare first-person shooter was fresh and new and awesome. But now the opposite has happened. which is interesting. After that was a Call of Duty 4 remaster trailer. That is going to be the main reason people will be buying Infinite Warfare. I'm sorry. It is the main reason because Call of Duty 4 is still loved by a lot of people, and they say it's one of the best Call of Duties of the bunch. So, sorry, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare fans or, futuristic warfare fans. That is going to be the big selling point of Infinite Warfare. I'm sorry to say that. After that, we got a little tease of Crash Bandicoot. Yeah! New Crash Bandicoot! But, oh, wait, no. It's just a remaster of Crash 1, 2, and 3. Or they're being remade. Which isn't a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. I love to hear that. Because those 3 games are great platformers. They're awesome. I would love to play them again for the PS4. But the main reason for that little tease was for Crash being in the new Skylanders game. Because, Activision owns Crash and Spyro now. So, of course, they're going to use them in their Skylanders franchise. But let's be frankly, Skylanders is getting, I think they're beating that horse just as much now. Because you saw Disney Infinite, Disney decided to can that. They decided it wasn't as profitable as it could have been. But and I think they underestimated what they needed to do to be a good game publisher, and it looks like they're not going to go along with that anymore or something. But yeah, the big news here is the Crash 1, 2, and 3 are being remade, and I'm all for it. But yeah, I still wish there was a new Crash Bandicoot game. It's been way too long, and I wish Naughty Dog still had the rights to it. Yes. Then they show off regular Star Wars 7. Not really much to say here, but it's another entry into the surprisingly good Lego games, which have started with the original Lego Star Wars. That's how it started, and they're surprisingly good. Don't let their kiddie aesthetic fool you. They are actually surprisingly pretty fun, and pretty fun couch co-op games. So, yeah, not much to say about Lego Star Wars 7 right now. Then we get Hideo Kojima emerging from the heavens, apparently walking onto the stage. Yes, finally, Kojima is back. He is able to make his games that he wants without Konami doing anything about it. Konami can go have fun, make it their pachinko and their slot machines, while over here in Sony, we have Kojima, and he's going to pump out money for us. I don't know what the heck Konami is thinking, but apparently they see more money in pachinko and gambling than they do in making actual games anymore. And we get a reveal of Kojima's new game, Death Stranding. It is going to have Norman Reedus. Basically, they're still teaming up. They're still going to make a game. But the trailer for Death Stranding is, to put it bluntly, bizarre. But that has not stopped people from saying, wow, this is awesome. And it definitely looked cool. It was definitely bizarre, but that is to be expected from Kojima. If you've ever played any of the Metal Gear Solid games, he's definitely got an interesting sense of humor, and there are definitely moments in that series which are quote unquote bizarre, I guess. But that's what we come to expect from Hideo Kojima, and people are going to eat this game up, and it was basically stated it is in development now. So it'll be interesting to see what it becomes and what the heck it is. But yeah, definitely don't take these kind of trailers with a grain of salt. It could definitely change because if you remember Metal Gear Solid 5, that whole Moby Dick Studios thing, and Kojima. He's a master ruse artist. He loves rusing people, and this could be just another instance of that. And he's definitely a master troll in some regards. Then after that was a reveal of a Spider-Man game. Yes, awesome, a Spider-Man game. It's only being made for the PS4, which is very surprising that it's not multi-platform, given that Marvel is, it's a Marvel property, it's a comic book property. It will be interesting to see how that goes over. But the big news about this is the fact that Insomniac is making this game, and it looked awesome for the trailer we got. And I trust Insomniac to make an awesome Spider-Man game. But the only thing I might have a little gripe with is Spider-Man's costume itself. It looks, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan. And a lot of comic book goers are kind of in an agreement store that this costume looks kind of bad. I just don't I don't know why they would go if it looked like that. This white Spider-Man logo, white gloves and stuff is just I could probably get over it. It's a minor nitpick, but yeah, I have faith in Insomniac to make an awesome Spider-Man game. And then after that, the last thing they ended on was a gameplay demo of Days Is Gone, which I could not for the life of me figure out why they waited till the end of the show to show that. There's probably some internal thing that happened that explains it. But I was not really impressed by it. It was just it was, again, a pre-cheat code-enabled demo that, he's not going to die. But one thing I hated was the gun sound. They had a character shooting like an AK-47 or something. That gun sounded so bad. I think it's a placeholder audio, but it sounds like poo 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 poo. It's like poo 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 poo. The same 5-second gun shooting sound for the whole thing. It sounded terrible, and I wasn't really impressed by that gameplay demo. But like I said, there's still a lot more to be seen of that. We still didn't get a lot to see. So that's Sony's press conference. It felt really short, but that's because they were just going with all gameplay footage all the time during that show, and it went pretty fast. But I like that press conference because it definitely had some interesting surprises to it. I was not expecting God of War. I wasn't expecting that Resident Evil 7 thing. I liked to see that I was genuinely surprised at what they had to show. And that's something I didn't really get from Microsoft's press conference. Like, I kind of pretty much knew what was going to show. There were no big surprises to that. But yeah, in Sony's press conference, the God of War thing, Resident Evil 7, and also the Crash 1, 2, and 3 remake was definitely a big surprise to me. And I like to be surprised when I watch E3. It's one of the big selling points of E3, like what can we expect, and things we didn't even know we were expecting getting announced or getting revealed. It's an amazing feeling, and I love to see it. And I definitely did like to see what Sony had to show off at this year's E3. So kudos to you, Sony. You did a pretty good job. And finally, we have Nintendo, or in some regards, what we didn't have, Nintendo. Let me explain a little bit. So, Nintendo going into E3, people were expecting more information on the NX. It was definitely rumored. It was definitely well known at this point that Nintendo has been developing a new console. Whether or not it was a portable or a home console was still up in the air. But we all knew that there was a new console. It was codenamed the NX, or that was the name they were giving it. And we knew that was in development, and we were expecting some new information from E3. But they said they weren't going to do any. And in fact, they said they weren't going to do a digital event or conference at all. Now, the last few years, Nintendo has done a digital event, which is basically like a special edition of their Nintendo Direct series, which is a video series where they highlight different games coming out for their system. But this year, and the last few ones, they've actually been pretty good. They actually had some little humor. 2 years ago, they had Robot Chicken kind of making some, the guys from Robot Chicken making some funny little skits for them. Last year, they had puppets or something from Jim Henson's Creature Shop or something. They were cute. But this year, they decided not to do anything. Now, you're wondering, people were speculating, does this mean they have nothing to show? Does this mean that the Wii U is finished? Like if they don't have anything, they clearly don't have anything to show. There's nothing coming out for their system. Instead, they decide to do a live stream, their typical E3 special Treehouse live stream, which was just something called Nintendo Treehouse, which is a group of people at Nintendo of America, which kind of highlights different aspects of Nintendo games. And this time they were going to do another E3 thing where they were going to be playing games on their live stream. But the thing is, they did have one game, and that was the new Legends. Though they made clear they were going to highlight a lot of that, and that's what this live stream was for, to show off the gameplay from that. So people were wondering, like, why would they do that? But it seems from the live stream they made a good decision. And honestly, they only had two games to show really at that thing. The first was Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is coming out November 28th. Not much to say about Pokemon Sun and Moon other than it's the next installment in the Pokemon series. Obviously, if you're big into Pokemon or whatever, you're gonna already have this game. New region, new Pokemon, same song and dance they've been doing for the last 10 years, I guess, or 20 years. I don't even know what it is at this point. But yeah, should be good. Like most of the other Pokemons are. I haven't really been playing them that much. It's just because I don't really have a 3DS and all that. But anyway, but the real reason for this live stream, the real reason for Nintendo being at E3 this year, was for the new Legend of Zelda, which did get a proper name, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And let me tell you guys, it looks absolutely crazy. It looks awesome. This looks to be Nintendo's biggest Legend of Zelda, the most ambitious Legend of Zelda they have ever done. And we got a lot of good looks from it from the Nintendo Treehouse stream, because that's basically all they were showing off for E3. And it looks crazy. Imagine Skyrim, imagine Fallout, imagine the Bethesda games of the last few years, but with Legend of Zelda, with Link, with Zelda, with all those things in this huge open world. And they have made a huge open world. It's breaking all the Legend of Zelda conventions with this game. The creators, the producers and stuff saying they wanted to break the conventions of the Legend of Zelda, and it looks like they are going to do it with this. There's almost so much they showed off that I can't even explain this video here. But it looks like it's going to be awesome. Just the way that they were showing off the things you could do, just the whole idea of just, it seems like a big RPG, and it's, a lot of people are saying Nintendo won the show of one game. I think that's being a little generous, because I feel like they should have came with more than one game. I'm sorry, but I know it's a really big game, but saying they won with just one game, I don't know. It is coming out for the Wii U, and it is coming out for the NX. So they're pulling another Twilight Princess, where they're kind of making a version for both systems. But they show off a lot of things. Just this huge open world, weapon crafting, food crafting. Just I can't even explain everything that I saw. There was so much into this game, and I'm definitely interested. I did not expect to be wowed by this Legend of Zelda, but in a way, I was wowed. In a way, I was definitely, my interest was piqued immensely by this game. I didn't expect it to happen. I didn't expect this E3 to have anything worthy of praising for Nintendo, because of the lack of games for the Wii U, the lack of the third-party support they still have, and yet they can still make a game like this? I know, I'm sounding way too excited for this, and I might be overhyping it a little. I mean, there's still some things we haven't seen. We haven't seen anything in the story. I have no clue what the story's going to be. They kind of kept it like that. Apparently, Link wakes from something. I guess he was in hibernation or something. This version of Link. And there's apparently a town, or there's people. Well, there's no people in this demo. There's mostly enemies. There's this one old man that you can run into. But I want to know what a little hint of what the story's going to be, or how the thing's going to happen, or how this game's going to play out. But I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it. And we didn't get a date. We didn't get any sort of date when it's going to land. They are probably aiming for 2017, though. It's probably going to come out with the NX. It's probably going to be a launch title with the NX. It's going to be coming out the Wii U. But there's so much to that thing that I can't even begin to describe what I saw. But let me just make it clear. What I did see, my interest in is very much raised. And if you want to see footage of it, there's plenty on Nintendo's YouTube channel, and plenty of it all over Nintendo. Just do yourself a favor. Look at what they showed off on the Treehouse live stream, and You may get excited, you may not get as excited as I am, but I was impressed. I was impressed with what they had to show, even if it was just one game. But in terms of like not having a press conference, not having a digital event, that I think that hurt him a lot, sort of, because it just the fact that they only had one game to show just highlights the problems that Nintendo is having right now. Just highlights the problems that Nintendo does not want to work with third parties, and I do not like that. You need those third party developers, that third party support. Otherwise, everyone's is not gonna buy your console because they know those games aren't gonna come out for it. Which is one thing I'm hoping the NX does. I do not want to see any more gimmicks. I applaud Nintendo for actually trying some things new, like with the Wii and the Wii U. But unfortunately, it makes developing games for that system not as appealing because of the fact that that system lacks the horsepower the other consoles have. And that's something I want to see addressed with the NX. I kind of want them to go back to the GameCube where it had some like instance of superiority, as in like it kind of matched up well with the other consoles on the market. That way you get the third parties to develop for your console and you get the multi-platform support you desperately need. But other than that, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was a big showcase, and it definitely looks like their most ambitious game to date and one of their biggest games to date, and I will definitely be looking forward to that when it comes out. So that is E3 2016, the press conferences and all the major developers in a nutshell, I guess, and my thoughts on each. So, till next time I'll be doing a post E3 show, talking about the major things I saw and all that stuff. But until next time, I'm One Hit Wonder, and I will see you later.